Happy Tuesday evening, everybody. Welcome to Turn 1. I'm Sean Fitz. Appreciate you being here. We're getting ready to take on Las Vegas with the Downforce Racing Series right here on Turn 1. Happy to have you guys on board. Qualifying, getting wrapped up. And we are going to work on talking to last week's top three, including last week's winner, Todd McGregor. Todd, congratulations last week on a really impressive run there on a super speedway. Tonight, qualifying there right now, qualified, showing 16th at Vegas. What do you got tonight to maybe put a back-to-back win in order there?
Well, we hope we have a little more luck like we had last week. If it wasn't for Dave Hunt, we wouldn't have probably been up front. He glued to my bumper and pushed me all the way up there, so I have to give him a thank you for that one. But this track's pretty tight, it feels like. Going to have our hands full, I think.
Todd, we always, oftentimes I hear a lot of drivers say how super speedways are great equalizers there. And kind of, you got to be at the right place at the right time, and it sounds like you certainly had some help. Tonight, you mentioned this racetrack being a little tighter. Is there really anything that translates from a super speedway or a track like Daytona and then come here to a wider, more open track like Las Vegas?
Well, it's there is a little bit of draft here, but it's just going to have to get this car field out. I didn't qualify very well, and it's just a mile-and-a-half track, and you just got to find your groove and what works with you. We're subject to the setup.
Well, going to work on riding that setup all the way to the checkered flag here tonight. Todd, congratulations again last week on the win. And I hope to again here. Hopefully, we'll be talking to you at the end of this one.
Yes, sir. It's I appreciate the group of guys we run with. They're all a super good group of guys that do a lot of benefits for a lot of people, military based and otherwise. But I appreciate you coming on board with us. Hopefully, we get to visit a little bit more through the season.
Yep, be talking to you soon, Todd. Again, congratulations. Todd McGregor, winner last night at Daytona. Looking for another checkered flag here tonight. And with that, we'll move on over to another top three run here in Dave Hunt. Dave, congratulations on bringing home what probably felt like a well-earned top three at Daytona. I'll ask you the same thing here at Vegas. Do you have anything that you learned last week that you're going to bring here and apply tonight?
Yeah, there's nothing really you can transfer over except for just staying clean and working with the guys that are around you. That's about it. And like Todd was saying there's just such a great group of guys to race with. It just makes it so much fun.
I definitely could see that. It looks like tonight, you are qualified up in that fourth position, that second lap, coming in clutch there in terms of qualifying. Was there a secret or anything you found there during practice, or what really gave you that opportunity to put that car in the top five?
Yeah, this is one of my favorite tracks. I used to go to this track and watch the race from like over 20 years, from 2000 to 2020. Now just like really racing here. It's just a fun track. You just got to find the right spot, and then just don't wear your tires out and just stay out of trouble.
Going to ride the wave of a top three, hopefully, again, into tonight here at Vegas. Dave Hunt qualified fourth. Dave, again, just like I mentioned with Todd, hopefully we get to speak to you again here real soon.
Sounds great. Thank you.
Thanks, Dave. And with that, again, as I mentioned, the Downforce Racing Series getting ready to kick off here at Vegas. 140 laps of racing action coming to you live right here on Turn 1. Let's take a quick look at the schedule here tonight. Obviously, here at Las Vegas, so the next week, we have coordinated to not be broadcasting the Michigan race. However, that plan may be altered just a little bit. I'm going to work on trying to accommodate that. But the rest of the schedule we are here for with the Nashville Super Speedway on 520. That is going to be a fantastic race. Iowa, the fifth race of the season, 527. And then we head on over to Pocono to kick off the June month here through the summer. We're right here with this Downforce Racing Series group of drivers. Qualifying wrapped up at Las Vegas, or at least coming to a close here at Las Vegas. Driver meeting underway, and Vinny Mateus, Vinny, I'm so sorry. We're gonna have to work on that through the season. Sitting on the pole currently, Jeff Hollingsworth, David Faraborough, Dave Hunt, and Andrew Lutz Jr., your top five. Chris Walker, Ryan Patty, Ross Rawlings, John Zaricki, And Bob Lacavera, thank you, Bob, for that, sitting in the top 10. Again, it's going to be a good night under the lights here in racing action at Vegas. We're going to get kicked off at gridding in just about 30 seconds. We're going to step aside for just a moment. We'll come back to you. Getting ready to go to the green flag. You're watching Turn 1. Getting grid up under the lights here at Las Vegas, the Downforce Racing Series. Happy to be here tonight with this group once again. We're going to have 21 drivers make the field here tonight. And like I mentioned, they're all getting grid up and ready to roll here tonight under the lights in what I would consider the Magic City, Las Vegas. Anything can happen here, just like anything can happen on track. Again, as we mentioned, the 70 car going to lead off on the pole there, inside row number 1, Jeff Hollingsworth, that Coast Guard veteran and driver from North Carolina, going to be the outside row number 1, starting P2, David Faribault, Dave Hunt, Andrew Lutz Jr., your top 5. If you haven't already done so, head on over to Facebook, Twitch, or YouTube. Right here, you're watching us somewhere on any of your favorite streaming platforms. Give us a like, follow, subscribe, do what you can to support Turn 1. We've got a lot of racing action, including this group for the next, 13 weeks or so. We're going to be live with the DRS group. We are going to continue, obviously, our Ohio Sim Racing nights on Thursday night right here on Turn 1. And those guys are going to take a little bit of a vacation here the next few weeks. And I believe they're going to be pretty much gone for all the June and July months, so that's okay. And then we will also be continuing to work with the Sim 500 gang throughout all summer long right here on Turn 1 Broadcasting. I just very quickly want to take a moment and thank everybody who has either reached out to us or inquired about a racing, covering their races or their broadcast. I am genuinely humbled by the amount of folks who want to bring Turn 1 into their racing experience, whether it be through a broadcast of a single race, a standalone big event, or a whole series or season obligation. I genuinely am very proud or very happy to be part of each and every one of these groups that we work with. And you know, obviously there's only so many days in the week, but we do have very limited availability remaining. So if you haven't reached out and you're curious about what could happen, well, certainly contact us. Head on over to Facebook, Turn 1 Broadcasting, and send us over a message. We'll get back to you as soon as we can. We'd love to continue to add to the family of leagues found right here on Turn 1. Enough talking about those other leagues, though. DRS, behind the pace car, getting ready to go green flag racing here in Vegas. Vinny Mateus, Jeff Hollingsworth, getting ready to take the green flag. We're going to have a competition caution and a stage end at lap 30. Otherwise, we're racing all the way to the end here in Vegas. It's going to be a lot of fun. We're glad you're with us. All the way down this long stretch, and the green flag's going to wave. DRS is live in Vegas. The 70 car out front, free and clear. Right behind him, though, Andrew Lutz Jr. battling side by side with the 3 machine, trying to close out that second place spot. Jeff Hollingsworth has fallen back to 4th there on the bottom. We talked to Dave Hunt during pre-race. He's fallen back just a little bit, but on that outside line. Now we've got a race for the lead here early. This is Lutz Jr. And that 7 car is going to roll underneath our leader on lap number 2. Junior's going to take that spot away. He's also going to bring what looks like the 3 car, trying to move with him. So far, Mateus is battling the 3 side by side. And Lutz Jr. is out front and starting to roll away. Now 3/10 on lap number 3. Let's talk about this side-by-side battle just a moment. This is a perfect example of some of the racing that can happen here in Vegas. You can find multiple lines that work for you as a driver. You will see folks on the high side, low side, middle line, through 2 and 3 wide. Plenty of space here for racing action as we see the 70 car break free and get clear. Now there goes Jeff Hollingsworth up to 3rd. You'll see all these drivers hunting this racetrack for a line that works for them and the setup to keep the tires underneath it. But obviously, just like any race, any opportunity here, you've got to run fairly quick and you've got to fight. You've got to get what you can on these restarts and use up some of those tires to gain the positions before it gets single filed out. We're taking a look just back here. That's the 3 machine, and then Chris Walker as well. They're side by side, rolling into 1. That's for a top 5 position. Andrew Lutz Jr. continues to lead out front right now here on lap number 5. Free and clear over the 70 and the 97. Dave Hunt has worked himself back up to where he started in that 4th place position, just looking underneath here of our leader, or of our pole sitter. Hunt had a great night last week, or great day at Daytona. A caution-filled race. Wow, as we see the pole sitter get really tight on the outside there. But had a great night at Daytona. Really trying to work another top 3 into the picture here. Chris Walker, last time by, that driver again, sitting on the outside line in the 33 machine, ran the fastest lap on track, a 29.89. One of the fastest, or the fastest driver in the top 10, obviously. But that's a proof there that obviously sometimes those fastest laps don't necessarily mean speed consistently. We're seeing that driver kind of stuck back there in traffic, currently sitting 6th. We go back up front. We're going to have a battle for the lead right here. Jeff Hollingsworth sends it deep down into 3 and 4. And that is going to take that spot away. What a power move out of the 97 of Jeff Hollingsworth as he comes across the stripe, the new leader here at Las Vegas, lap number 8. Andrew Lutz Jr. is going to move down there with him, but here comes Dave Hunt. Again, another driver. We talked about it just a moment ago. Hunt, very fast last week, was able to bring home the top 3, qualified 4th, now up to 3rd. 1, 2, 3. That is Lutz Jr., Hollingsworth, and Hunt. Hollingsworth set the fastest lap last time by at 29.89. We saw that power move down in the corner. Is he going to be able to pull it off here again? Lutz Jr. is going to move down and going to take that bottom line away and slide up to the outside wall down in this Nellis backstretch here at Vegas. You see Hollingsworth take a little bit of a higher line through 3 and 4. That's going to give him the RPM advantage, but it's also going to put Dave Hunt right there on the bumper. Hunt all over the rear bumper cover of the 97 as they come down the front stretch. We heard the drivers during post or pre-race talk about that draft being a component of tonight's event. We're starting to see that kind of play into the race as we saw Hunt really make up some ground down the front stretch there on Hollingsworth. In the meantime, Lutz Jr., who walked away in almost a 4/10 of a second lead early in the early going, now just 2/10 out front of Hollingsworth. That interval now just down to a car length here, or a couple car lengths here on lap number 11. take a look a little further back. That's Chris Walker. Still riding that middle outside line. He's got hand over fist in front of him. That driver up 5 spots on the night, currently sitting 6th. Walker and Fist side by side as they roll down the front stretch. Just behind him, Paul Crumry in the 8th position in the 12 car. Then the 44, last lap, put another hot lap up on 29.88. These drivers are continuing to set extremely strong lap times and race pace. Some 12 laps after the start. Hollingsworth underneath, Lutz Jr. up front. Another lead change. Hollingsworth is going to lead that corner, or lead that lap there, and get another strong 3 and 4. Now here comes Dave Hunt underneath the leader. And they get a little tight on the exit of turn 2. Hunt's going to lose a little bit of time. He's not going to be able to unwind the wheel like he wants to. Lutz is going to take back to the corner. He's going to follow Hollingsworth all the way down into 3 and 4. As we're getting closer and closer to that stage break and competition caution. Lap number 30 here at Las Vegas. Points are going to be of importance, so we'll continue to keep that story active as we see, who is that? Is that Paul? That is Paul Crumry inside of the 69 as they are side by side down the backstretch. Out front now, Hollingsworth, Lutz Jr., Dave Hunt's falling back to 3rd. The 70 of Vinny Mateus sitting 4th. And David Faraba sitting 5th. David, I apologize about butchering that last name. Feel free to correct me anytime you're ready. Taking a look a little bit back in the pack. And last week's race winner, Todd McGregor, sitting 13th. He qualified 17th, so this is a strong come up here, but obviously running about 4.5 seconds behind our leader. Todd credited last week's race win up there to Dave Hunt and admitted the track felt a little tight tonight. With not a whole lot he could translate from Daytona. We'll see if that is something that he's going to be able to sort out and get back up into the top 5 here early going. Hollingsworth continues to run out front. Lutz Jr. looks like he was looking for something a little different on the high side. Hunt, though, is going to be closing in. That's right there is what you can tell between the shortest way around a racetrack and the fastest way around a racetrack. Those are 2 distinct things. And you saw Lutz Jr. roll that outside line, kept the RPM in the car, was able to hold off Hunt. Now Hunt in a little bit of trouble. He's got the 70 car behind him. Now looking to the inside as they roll down into turn number 3. And we're starting to see a couple of these other drivers, these leaders start to kind of fall back to a couple of these drivers. That's of note. We talked about Chris Walker, who was sitting 6th and has been battling traffic in and out all night. He's not really pushed the issue too hard. Wow, high up the wall was Hollingsworth. That's going to be a lead change as Lutz Jr. is going to take it over on the inside, or on the, down the inside and down the backstretch. Hollingsworth, that car got way out of shape. It looks like Jeff had to chase it pretty high up the wall. Now, Andrew Lutz Jr. is going to take the lead away here, lap number 19. Anyway, back to Chris Walker. We've talked about how he's not really pushed the issue on track. There's really been no need to, but he is running about 3rd place lap times. Oh, we've got a car spun. That was Dave Hunt, went for a ride. He's going to collect a couple others here in the field. That is unfortunate, and that's going to bring the caution out here on lap number 19. Dave made contact, and I'm not quite sure who that was with. Let's take a very quick look at the replay. Oh, looks like he was looking to turn down and the 3 car was there. Oh, but that would have been a great moment to hold the brakes there, Dave. Either way, under caution for the first time here tonight at Las Vegas for the Downforce Racing Series right here on turn 1. Lap number 20. We're going to step aside just a moment. We'll bring you back green flag coverage right here. You're watching turn 1. Pace car lights are off. Going to go back green flag racing lap number 23. Andrew Lutz Jr. and the basically the top 6 electing to stay out. We'll see how this plays out with new tires here at Vegas of just under 20 or just 20 laps of racing action on them. Jeff Hollingsworth inside row number 1, getting ready to go back green flag racing. The drivers, or the pace truck's going to duck down pit road. There they go. And they're going to come all the way down to the DPR restart zone here at Las Vegas. And the green flag back out, lap number 23. Lutz Jr. With a huge jump out front. Hollingsworth sitting right now about 4/10 back. He'll obviously make some of that time up, but a big jump into 7. And we're going to see what new tires can do. Does that become a factor here in this race? Side by side for side by side a little further back here. That's Paul Crumry, Corey Moore. 7th and 8th place. In the meantime, though, Lutz Jr. out front, free and clear. Hollingsworth has only chewed off about a 10th since the start or restart. One of the first drivers to pay attention to here is Ryan Patty. He's on the inside of the 3 machine. He's got those tires, came down pit road lap 20. Are they going to play a factor now? Because he's going to drive by the 3 car. He's going to try to bring Ross Rawlings with him. But so far, it doesn't look like those drivers that came down pit road is going to make much of a difference in the grand scheme of things. As Lutz Jr. continues to lead, now the 70 car able to get by Hollingsworth. That's for P2. Lutz Jr. going to continue to lead here as he takes the stripe to lap number 26. And that 70 has turned up the wick pretty hard here in the last 3/4 of a lap. I haven't got any information to say otherwise. We should still see the competition caution and end of the stage at lap number 30, just 4 laps away. Everybody jockeying for position in terms of points. Our top 6 single file. The next side-by-side battle is right here. That is the 44 and the 08. Side-by-side as they roll off into 2. And back there, that is for a top 10 position. As we go back up front, Lutz Jr. continues to lead over the 70 and the 97. Right down the bottom of the racetrack. And out of 3 and 4 to take lap number 28 of 140 here in Vegas. 2 to go this stage. Right now, it doesn't look like the drivers that came down pit road, as we see right here, the 70. It's going to drive up the outside. What a power move. The outside of Lutz Jr. They nearly make contact out of nowhere. Here's the 70 car. Junior's going to try to hold him off. It's going to be a drag race down the front stretch. 1 to go this stage. The 70 and the 7 battle it out. Continue to be a drag race down the backstretch. The 70's going to get clear. Now, the 7's going to take the high line. Try to find a little bit of speed here with the 70. Has continued his roll through the field. Started on the pole. All of a sudden, back up front here. Lap number 30. What a move out of the 70 car. Now, side-by-side battle back there for 5th. I believe that's Ryan Patty. And the 30 and the 3 battling it out. As they come out of 3 and 4, we'll see here if the league admins elect to waive that competition caution or they keep it in their pocket since that other caution came out just here just about 10 laps ago. I'm going to say they're going to keep it in their pocket for now, it looks like. With Patty on the inside, continuing to battle here. Lutz Jr. in a little bit of trouble. He's starting to lose a little bit of time. Now here comes Jeff Hollingsworth on the inside. Hollingsworth is going to slide back to third. And he's going to be in a little bit of trouble with the 3 right there. Ryan Patty rounding out the top 5. Ross Rawlings, John Ziricki, Vinny Bonanno, Todd McGregor, and Corey Moore, your top 10. These two battling it out. This is a side-by-side fight. The 11 and the 44 looking for that 7th place. Who's going to take it? Both these drivers have been down pit road. Some longer stops for these drivers down pit road at that, so we could see a tire component coming into fruition here. So we go back up front. Lutz Jr. able to kind of get his wits about him a little bit. Now, settle back into P2. It's not such a gaggle of cars behind him. While we've got the opportunity, let's ride on board. We'll do so with a 91 of Ross Rawlings right here on turn 1. And we'll ride around the lap here at Vegas with a 91. Under the lights here in Las Vegas, and all chaos has broke loose in the top 5. Ryan Patty up to 2nd place. John Zaricki up to 3rd. David Faribault has maintained 4th, but Vinny Bonanno up to P5. But it is a side-by-side battle in the back there for the rest of these spots. Mike Whitaker up here. Jeff Hollingsworth is still battling it out back there, but he's just watching all the chaos ensue right in front of him. And again, keep in mind, this is a mix of drivers that have come down pit road, a mix of drivers that have not. So a lot of different varying strategies right there as we see the 44 nearly make contact with the 30 of Ryan Patty. As they sit side by side down through the front stretch. Patty's got to check up and go a little bit higher in the corner of the 44. Nearly again running back into the door. That is going to free up the 44 to take that spot away and move into P2. Out front, though, our leader in the 70 car. Starting to feel a little bit of pressure from the 44 who came down pit road. And that is going to be a full stop. It has to be as a 15-second pit stop down pit road. So I imagine this is what new tires is doing for some of these drivers. And there you have it. John Zaricki underneath the 70. Down into 3 and 4. Those new tires starting to prevail. Now all the way down the front stretch. The 44 is going to be your leader, lap number 43. Now it looks like the 70 is going to be be in some trouble with Vinny Bonanno up front. Now moving over to that P2 position. The 70 is going to slide back. Now Ryan Patty, though, feeling a little bit of pressure. That's Mike Whitaker just behind him. But as we came back here, just about almost 5 laps ago, we saw chaos ensuing up front. Now, mostly single filed out with the exception of this fight right here. Hollingsworth looking underneath the 3 car. Both of these drivers have not been down pit road. They're battling some of those older tires while we see some of these others just kind of hanging on and cruising away. John Zaricki out front. Last time by, a 30:54 was the fastest lap time of the top 10. That's probably why he's your leader. But Vinny Bonanno up front running P2 in that 11 machine. Not too far off pace, nearly identical lap times with our leader. So something worth keeping an eye on. That time by, the 44 was something like 5/100ths faster. So we're going to continue to watch these lap times tick aside. This shows you kind of what the delta is on some of these tires. So for instance, Jeff Hollingsworth, his fastest lap of the night, 29.89. Tire fall off is equating to a 30.95 last time, while our leader is running a 30.63. So those 3/10ths are certainly starting to matter here at Vegas for these drivers that elected to come down on lap number 20. Looking for a battle all over the racetrack, but really not one occurring. Most of our lead pack has been rolling around that bottom white line, especially down into 1 and 2. We talked earlier about how these drivers can really work the track and find a line that works best for them in the car and the way they want to drive. And Vegas gives you a ton of room. You could be at the very bottom, and there's really about 5 lanes that are viable through the corner. Very similar to, say, a Michigan or a Fontana even. And a lot of these drivers starting to move around the racetrack. Ryan Patty up against the wall. And again, that's not unintended. We see that kind of line and that maneuver done by a lot of drivers here on turn 1. They run up against that wall, keep the RPM built up in the car. They don't slow down as much, but the downside is that is a very clear, longer way around this racetrack than, say, some of the drivers that are running right on the bottom. As we start to see the 11 car close in on the 44. This here is just a little bit of byproduct of the 44 starting to slow down. Last time by, the 11 was a 10th faster and probably starting to get a tickle of that draft, especially down the backstretch, that Nellis backstretch here at Vegas. As they roll through the front stretch to take the checkered, or take the back to the start finish line. those tires are starting to wear on the 44, I'd imagine. Lap time 30.84 to the 11's 30.77, so just about a tenth there. But we look back behind these two, they have no pressure out back. 1.8 seconds sits the 70 car, the 707 Mike Whitaker, your fourth place driver. Ryan Patty sitting currently in the top 5. We talked about Todd McGregor and we spoke to him during qualifying, able to bring home the victory last Tuesday night at Daytona. Now Todd sitting P7. He qualified 17th. Was one of those drivers that elected to come down pit road lap 20, and now that's starting to pay off a little bit in his favor. McGregor mentioned that he didn't know if there was going to be a whole lot to translate from last week, as there's a tight battle just in front of him. But right now, sitting 7th and continuing to move forward, last week's race winner Todd McGregor. Ryan Patty, Jeff Hollingsworth, side by side as they roll off through the front stretch into turn 1. Those two were very tight. And right there, Patty closing, really just driving down the racetrack almost at Hollingsworth. That is going to slow this group up a little bit. And this is going to bring a 4-car pack into a little bit of a battle here as we see a car just drive around them. Who was that? I believe that's got to be a lap down machine. Was that Bob? It sure was. That's Bob Lacavera sitting a lap down, currently 19th. He was last down pit road, lap 43, so that driver is got the benefit of some of those newer tires. And really, that move kind of looks like it unsorted this group a little bit. That's okay. That's what was needed. Ryan Patty now back to sitting P5. Keep in mind, he came down pit road lap 20, but that may have been a splash of fuel only. Hollingsworth has not been down and pressuring Patty here. He's got McGregor with him, Corey Moore, James Durr, and then the 3 machine sitting back there just in the 10th place spot. Out front, though, you're not missing anything. These two have continued to battle kind of lap time for lap time and mostly stabilized out here as they come across the stripe for lap number 56 of 140 tonight at Las Vegas for the Downforce Racing Series right here on Turn 1. Want to thank everybody for tuning in. Look a little bit further back here, and now that's McGregor looking underneath Hollingsworth. That's going to be for 6th place. Those two battling hard here as they come off the corner. Hollingsworth is going to take advantage of keeping McGregor tight to the bottom. Able to get a good bit of speed. Now here comes Corey Moore on the outside of McGregor. You're seeing a lot of these drivers not necessarily drive defensively, but a lot of aggressiveness on track because there's a lot of tricks that you can play with these cars, especially if you can hold a driver to a certain position, or you don't allow them to leverage the outside of the track to the right of them to gain that momentum and speed, or where they are on track and taking their lines away, things like that. All of these are pieces of the strategy that are going to play in the hand of these drivers tonight here at Vegas, where really it's everybody's game. Everybody plays by the same rules. Everybody has the same opportunities. So being able to figure out what works for you, how the car will work and behave if you were to do X, Y, and Z with your competitors around you. We've seen some folks run tight to the door on a couple people. We've seen some folks take track away where they know that driver in front of them loves to run it out all the way against the wall out of 4. Well, they'll sit on that high side, take that away, shake that line up a little bit, tighten the inside car up, and drive away. We're also seeing a little bit of cat and mouse games with the draft a little bit down the backstretch here. I wouldn't think that would make that big of a difference, but we saw a lot of swerving and back and forth trying to break that momentum up, all led by Hollingsworth. Here's Corey Moore on the pursuit, just behind him. You're not missing anything up front, minus Bob Lacavera going around our leaders. Oh, and the caution's out. Doesn't look like any incident on track. This very well could be that caution that they were looking for from a competition caution standpoint. May have had some misinformation. Regardless, under the pace car here for the second time only as they get slowed up to get collected right here on turn one. The whole field's going to come down pit road. We'll watch for that here while we step aside. And we get ready for the restart here on lap, well, we'll call it lap number 64. You're watching turn one. Pit stops in the books as the pace car lights are off. We get ready to get back. Green flag racing. Lap number 64. The 70 and the 44 out front. Ryan Patty and the 30 of the 11 of Vinny Bonino out front. Sitting row number 2. Corey Moore, Jeff Hollingsworth, row number 3 as they get ready to crack off a restart here at Las Vegas. Only the second one tonight. We're going all the way to lap 40. I believe this was the only competition caution in mind for this driver group here this evening. So what you see is what you get. Do we need, I suspect we will see maybe another pit stop? Or can they run all the way? We're going to find out what this is going to look like for some of these drivers. The 70 drags them all the way down to the DPR start zone right here on the front stretch. And there you have it. The green flag back out. We're racing again in Vegas. Cars scatter out everywhere. The 70 machine able to get out front pretty easily. Now Ryan Patty looking outside of John Zaricki. Not going to be able to make that pass happen, though. We want to look a little further back. That's 2 and 3 wide racing back here. Cars having to take some invasive maneuvers to avoid contact as this big wide racetrack lends itself to some wild and wide racing. Looking up front, the 70 car completely on just on rails. Brian Patty just behind him there. And then it's a side-by-side battle for third. That's Corey Moore outside of the 44. Just behind him, though, it's again a little bit of a madhouse here. A big pack of cars all battling for an opportunity to get by. We talked about in the early part of this race, these drivers are going to they're going to pursue every position they possibly can. You saw how difficult in some instances it could be to pass. So these drivers know they have got to do everything they can to get as many of those positions as they can right here, right now. While a lot of these drivers are grouped up together, we see our leader just out front rolling. Really no pressure. Ryan Patty behind him, but just behind them, it is a bit of a madhouse as they cross the stripe here at Vegas. Was that Ross Rawlings nearly in the grass coming down the apron of the front stretch? Getting everything he possibly could as they're 2 and 3 wide back here. Coming down the back stretch. Oh, we're going to have a car having to check up real hard. Who's that black car back there? That may have been Andrew Lutz. That was not Andrew Lutz Jr., but that was the... who was that? Marked as the 80. That is Andrew Lutz, not Jr. They're battling it out side by side, and you got Dave Hunt right there in the mix as well. Lutz Jr. led a bunch of laps here in the early going, and now he's all the way tangled up back there at 11th. We look a little further forward again. Everybody cruising around. Starting to get single filed out here, with the exception of the 3 and the 80. And then Lutz Jr.'s back there battling. He's battling Dave Hunt. Todd McGregor's back here as well. He's just watching the madness in front of him. No point really pushing the issue. There's nowhere for him to go. 2 and 3 wide racing each quarter back there. This is for a 10th place spot on track right now. These drivers kind of moving all around, looking for their opportunity to advance. Big pile of racing action back here. Again, 3 wide in some spots. Rawlings goes high. That car almost looked like it wiggled just a little bit with Paul Crumry be able to close the door in front of him. Go back up front here. And while our leader's just, he's gone 4/10. Jeff Hollingsworth, Ryan Patty are side by side. These two have been up front most of the ninth. Can Hollingsworth shut the door on P2? He's going to be able to. Patty's going to move up, try to block the advance of Corey Moore, but that's going to be a tight door to shut there, but he's going to do it. And just behind Patty, it is this big gaggle of machines. That's Corey Moore, John Zaricki, Paul Crumry, Andrew Lutz Jr., and 11 of Vinny Bonanno, Ross Rawlings, all here battling for these spots. And really no patience, no give out of these drivers. All take here tonight is going to come down the backstretch. Lap number 72 of 140 for the Downforce Racing Series. And we're going to have a battle for the lead right here. Jeff Hollingsworth going to drive around the 70 car like he's standing still out of turn number 4. Hollingsworth is going to lead that lap. Oh, wow. We're going to see the 70 blink really hard. He's going to lose a ton of time. He's going to appear right in front of Patty. Everybody's got to check up. And we're going to have a big spin here. This all started from the net code that was the 70 machine. And there it is. The caution's out. Oh, I seen that coming a pretty far, pretty far away. With that 70 car experiencing that net code, and everybody kind of had to check up to avoid. That was tough for these drivers to have to contend with. The 70 sitting P2 right now on the score. Jeff Hollingsworth sitting in the lead. Paul Crumry may have able to take advantage the most out of that situation. He's worked his way up to third. We're going to step aside just a moment. Under the pace car, or behind the pace car, for the third time tonight. Lap number 74. You're watching Turn 1. Getting ready to go back. Green flag racing here. Lap number 77. Vinny Bonanno sitting P1 right now. Ross Rawlings, Corey Moore. Corey Moore, rather. John Anderson, Tom McGregor. Your top 5. Several cars, 8 to be exact, elected not to come down pit road. Everybody else stopped for tires and maybe a little bit of fuel. We'll see how this is all going to play out. We're well past halfway here tonight at Vegas. As they get ready to roll into that DPR start zone. The DRS crew is back live in green at Vegas. Top 5 single filed out. Just like that. Again, keep in mind, these drivers have not come down pit road, but Ross Rawlings is going to pressure our leader. He's going to take the lead away from the 11 car. Rawlings now going to get clear. He's going to shut the door in front of the 11. There it is. New leader Ross Rawlings here, lap number 76. I'm sorry, not lap number 79 rather. Learning to count was not our first thing we grew up with. Neither is speaking really, which is really odd considering the business we're in. Nonetheless though, Rawlings out front. The 11 machine. Corey Moore is right there, 44, the 97, all your top 5. As they're working through this traffic here to take lap 80. Rawlings starting to pull ahead just a little bit, but it's really because of traffic back there. We see somebody make some wall contact. But everybody just having to work through this traffic. That's Corey Moore now, driving down the racetrack, trying to close the door on the 11. He's going to do it. Moore up to second place for the first time tonight. Here comes Hollingsworth. He's back in the picture. Came down pit road this last time by. I would argue that looks like that's a fuel-only stop for that driver. So the 97 position hunting. In the meantime, we go back up front. Rawlings had that 0.3 of a second lead. That's gone. Corey Moore now within a car length. He's going to bring the 11 of Vinny Bonino with him. And Vinny, I apologize. Vinny Bonano, we're going to have to keep that in mind. There's no I in there, Sean. We'll figure it out. As they roll down the front stretch here, lap number 83. These laps are, lap 82, these laps are ticking away very quickly here. With, what was that, 58 to go here tonight at Vegas. I think for a lot of these drivers, there's a chance that most of them could go all the way here. Also, a lot of them are hoping for a late race caution to put on maybe that last set of tires and have a little bit of a sprint race to the end. But right now, the top 10s only got 4 drivers, 5 drivers. So it's a split of who came down pit road last on 74 versus lap number 61. Rawlings able to continue to hold on to that front spot, but the gaggle of cars behind him is growing. Corey Moore is back there. Jeff Hollingsworth is there. Dave Hunt is back up here. He started in 4th. He's now back up to 4th, looking on the outside of the 11 car. Andrew Lutz Jr. is back up here for the back up here after a hot minute being away, and then Todd McGregor has moved back up into the 7th place position. Another driver having a decent night has been running in the top 10. The driver from Big Lake, Minnesota, Paul Crummery, sitting in 10th right now just behind James Durr. They're going to have to figure out. He's got an opportunity. He's in the position. He's got the track position. We've seen him run as best as second. Will he capitalize before it's all said and done? We see the checker flag here tonight. Meantime, looking up front, Hollingsworth is going to drive around Moore for second. Now, right into the tire tracks of Rawlings as they roll out of 4. Since the caution, the tempo of this group has certainly picked up. Seeing the aggressiveness kind of pick up. I would argue the overall pace on track has seemed to have all of a sudden picked up as everybody knows now it's time to go. We're going to see Rawlings drive away just a little bit as Moore now has Hollingsworth up on the high side down the front stretch. And here comes the 11. He's not done with this whole group. And then Dave Hunt rather. He's all up there. He's up there in contention. This is really a race for a top 5 spot. With every spot from 1st to 5th in contention. Right now, Rawlings is just hoping they continue to fight each other. Corey Moore, Jeff Hollingsworth are continuing to be side by side. Once those drivers single file back out, that's when they run down Rawlings. So he wants to continue to see those cars battle in the mirror. Speaking of, let's take this opportunity one more time to ride on board some of these drivers. And let's start with our leader, Ross Rawlings. Just like that. Lap number 94. Well underway here in Vegas for the Downforce Racing Series right here on Turn 1. Hello, I'm Sean Fitz. I appreciate you being here. It's been an exciting night of racing action all over the racetrack here under the lights of Vegas. We've seen a bunch of different leaders, but right now, Ross Rawlings. I'm going to call him grass clipping Rawlings there before it's all said and done. That driver is taking it all the way down and getting every piece of asphalt he can down this front stretch here in Vegas. Sitting out front right now, Corey Moore sitting P number 2. Able to get by Jeff Hollingsworth while we were doing some in-car stuff there. Hollingsworth sitting P3 here, has had a really good night tonight. Been up front, has led some laps, has been fighting for these top 5 positions all night here so far. That 97 Coast Guard machine sitting 3rd. Vinny Bonanno, that driver, the 11. He's up 9 spots on the start this evening, currently sitting 4th. And finally, last week's race winner, Tom McGregor, up 12 spots. He talked at the right after qualifying. He just didn't have a great qualifying effort. But McGregor now sitting P5, and what I would consider probably a win out of that driver right here. He was a little worried that not a whole lot was going to translate to the track like Vegas versus Daytona. But quietly hunting for a top 5 finish here tonight in Vegas. Tom McGregor sitting 5th. As we go back out front, we saw Rawlings have a really strong run at Daytona. As I mentioned, though, usually runs at super speedways don't necessarily translate to a much of anything on more of these larger intermediate tracks. But Rawlings right now out front, taking advantage of the clean air. He's got that car rolling pretty good. Last down on pit road, lap number 61. I believe he's going to have enough to go the whole way in terms of fuel. But there's some of these drivers, I wonder if they were questioning that pit strategy, because we saw a bunch come down on 74. So that's just a factor we're going to have to keep in mind. But right now, Corey Moore sitting P2. Vinny Bonanno was able to get by Hollingsworth there. That was for 3rd. We're taking a look back here a little further, and it's a little bit of a pack here running all over the racetrack. That's Andrew Lutz Jr. He's back there. He's led some laps. The 70 car has led some laps as well. Ryan Patty's been fast all night. They're all 2 and 3 wide racing here as they come down the front stretch. Keep in mind, this is all for 7th. Tight racing through the field here in Vegas. Whoa, we just saw the 70 car get real tight there. Off the, I believe that was the 20. That could have been an ugly situation, but they are nonetheless able to save it and keep them all straight on track. So we want to keep a close eye out of the 70. We want to keep a close eye on the 30 of Ryan Patty as well. Those drivers but those drivers came down pit road, lap number 74. Several of them look to have taken tires based on pit stop times alone. And now that 70 car starting to advance forward. He's got a little bit of a gap to run down McGregor out in front of him. And then even more of a gap to run down our leader, Ross Rawlings, who right now is sitting out in what I would consider the most consistent and biggest lead of the night. Rawlings out to 0.7 of a second over Corey Moore. He does not want to see a caution come out. He has found his groove. He's found what's worked. Right in their last time by, ran a 30.79. And really, the only other time we're the only other drivers running better lap times than that is the 30 machine and the 70 car, Vinny Mateus. And those two are side by side right now, battling for that spot. Patty's going to drive by him on the outside there. But ultimately, right now, Rawlings is leveraging those old tires, sliding them around a little bit. Found some life in them. here yet as they come across a stripe lap 104 or 40 or 140. So 36 to go here at Vegas. We talked about some of that congestion on track, allowing for Rawlings to get clear and away from this pack, and we're seeing it right here. The 11 and the 45 getting a little racy. Bonanno able to get by more. Then just behind them, that's McGregor and Ryan Patty battling it out. That's Bob Lacavera. He's a lap down up here in the mix. Off sequence a little bit there is Bob. In the meantime, though, everything behind him is a little chaotic as McGregor is now going to look underneath more. That's going to be for that third spot, or sorry, that's going to be for that fourth spot. Not going to be able to pull it off in 3 and 4. Now that outside line rolling a little bit. Here comes Patty. Again, side by side. McGregor all the way up there against the door of the 30 car. Gonna bail out of that. Here comes the 70, working his way back into the top 5. If we take a look right now, the 70 car is sitting at 2.3 seconds away from our leader. Can he close that gap in 33 laps? We'll keep a close eye on that. And I think if anybody's got the pace, we've seen the 70 car really step it up in the late run and drive around some of this field. We'll see if he's able to do it here before it's all said and done. Tom McGregor is going to pit from the 6th place position. McGregor's going to come down pit road. He was last here. I believe he was last here on 61, so we're starting to see some of those drivers pit. Maybe not enough fuel in his machines. That came down pit road. We'll have to continue to came down pit road on lap 61 at the stage break. We'll have to continue to monitor this situation. And there goes Nick Pisani. He's down pit road. Another lap 61 driver. It sounds like there may be some strategy at play here. And if that were to be the case, the driver of the 91, Ross Rawlings, he's going to come down pit road. Yep, there it is. Pitting with with almost a full second lead on second place. He's going to bring a bunch of drivers with him. Vinny Bonanno, Jeff Hollingsworth, all going to come down pit road. Ryan Patty is going to be the first driver sequencing out to a lap 74 pit stop. I believe he's going to have enough, or he's going to be right on the number. Now he just needs to hope that the tire strategy doesn't fall off that hard. His best lap times as we see Andrew Lutz Jr., John Anderson, they're coming down pit road. But Ryan Patty out front right now. Lap times have fallen off just about a second. Last down pit road, lap 74. I don't know if that fall off is important enough or big enough for the drivers like the 91 or the 71, the 80, for those drivers to get caught up with our leader before it's all said and done here. Ryan Patty, again, not been on pit road since lap 74. He's going to have Corey Moore, John Zaricki, going to have to come down before it's all said and done as well. But just like that, really all but 6 cars left on the lead lap here at Vegas as we're under green flag pit stop conditions for at least a part of the field here tonight for the DRS crew. Corey Moore is going to slow it up and bring it down pit road. That's another lap 61 driver. Really, we only have one more. That's John Zaricki. When does he elect to come down? Paul Crumry is also on pit road right now. These stops starting to sequence out. Did some of these lap 74 drivers, did they save enough? Do they have enough in the tank? I show right now there's 5 of them. We'll talk about that here in just a second. Actually, there's going to be 4. Do they have enough fuel to come down pit road? Mike Whitaker, I believe, was a lap 74 driver. He's now down pit road. So that really shakes things up a little bit. If this is going to be a full pit sequence here, what is that going to do? In the meantime, Ryan Patty is interesting, a note worth mentioning, has driven away from a strong 70 car. Now 1.2 seconds on back. So is there a little bit of fuel strategy at play here? Right now, only 4 cars on the lead lap. That's Ryan Patty, Vinny Mateus, Mateus, John Zaricki, Dave Hunt. Your top 4, Ross Rawlings. Right now, sitting P5. He's a lap down. Just came down pit road here. Lap 109. As those green flag pit stops cycled out, but I do believe we are seeing now the 70 car really off the pace a bit. Maybe trying to save some of that precious fuel here to stretch that lap 74 stop all the way out to the end of this thing. Another driver that we're looking at is John Zaricki. He's not come down pit road since lap 61. He's going to continue to run here as Rawlings is going to try to get by him and race his way back to a lead lap spot. We're going to have to keep a close eye on Ryan Patty. Between him and the 70 car and the effort, a little bit of cat and mouse being played here. I think from a fuel mileage standpoint, Patty was a 10th slower, but that interval is just last time by. But that interval's not really changed a whole lot. We'll check lap times as they come across the stripe here with 23 to go. Last time, 31:18. The 30 at 31:19. So equal lap times out of those drivers, and I wouldn't say that's any further off the tire wear number. We're going to see how this is all going to shake out. Again, 4 drivers who have not come down pit road this sequence, including the 40. John Zaricki, who has not been on pit road since lap 61. Now on the bottom of the racetrack, we're going to see John come down pit road right here. Oh, he's going to get him locked up. Will he be down there? Woo, that looked like a tight pit road entry out of the 40 car, but he's going to the 44, but he's going to make it. Now, just 3 cars on the lead lap, on pit road lap 74. Who's got enough to go all the way to the very end here? And who's in full conservation mode? We'll take a look at lap times as they drive by here. Last time by, Ryan Patty ran a 31:28. So the 30 cars, 30:02. And that gap now starting to really tighten up. Was 1.2 seconds, now 0.8. Do they have enough? In the meantime, Ross Rawlings is sitting there in 4th at the moment. And he's going to drive around the 30 car here. I'm sorry, not the 30, the 70 rather. I keep calling it the 30. I apologize about that. He's going to drive around Mateus and keep driving away. But that is not for position. That is just to get his lead lap back. But he is the first driver. He would be scored in the lead if these other 3 drivers were to come down pit road here. So Rawlings is going to, there's no reason for him to save, no reason for him to be in conservation mode. He's going to be full tilt here, and he's going to push the issue with everybody. He wants to see those final 3 drivers come down pit road as he is going to basically unlap himself right there. And that's going to put him in, he's still in 4th position past those cars, but he's going to maintain that spot. But now he's going to have to pretty much work his way around the racetrack and catch back up to the leader once again. And he's only got 19 laps to do it. 3rd place right now is Dave Hunt. And that is just there coming off midway down the backstretch. Rawlings is just now hitting start finish line, so about a half a lap lead. I don't know if he's going to catch up with Hunt. It looks like that's going to be, oh goodness, what is that? That is going to be an 18-second gap between those two. So we'll see if Rawlings can work his way into the top 3 before it's all said and done. In the meantime, Patty continuing. Last time by ran a 30.79, so we have definitely seen these lap times vary. Tire strategy, not a problem here. This is all fuel mileage savings. Now Patty a 31.91. Huge savings there. So he's running just far enough to keep a huge gap out front. But between him and the 70, fuel mileage race in full effect here at Vegas. Do they have enough in the tank to bring it home here? Ryan Patty in the 30 car would love to bring home a victory. And we talk about, we hear all the time fuel mileage racing is not the most attractive, but I disagree. It takes strategy, it takes guts, it takes, being a real, real trustworthy of a calculator in your foot. As we see Lutz Jr. work his way past the leader here to gain his lap back. It also looks like Hollingworth is going to do the same. So is Nick Pisani. He's right there. He's going to do that as well. This takes effort. It takes talent. It's a team. It requires a team effort to make this happen for a lot of these drivers, to make this kind of decision, to make this strategy work out. As we take a look back here with Rawlings, we were talking about him and maybe running down Hunt. He's closed that gap down from 18 seconds to 14 in just 4 laps. At that pace, he'd be passing Hunt essentially on the last lap. So we'll see if he's able to maintain it. In the meantime, last time by, the 70 ran about half a second slower than he needed to, a 31.25. That gap now to our leader and Ryan Patty, 1.6 seconds. Dave Hunt here also on cruise control. His lap times varying. Again, these 3 drivers not down pit road since lap 74. It's going to be just on the cusp of enough. How much did they save as Patty comes out of 4? Down the front stretch here. He's going to see 12 to go at the sign. There you have it. Do they have enough before to get finished here? In the meantime, the 30 has started to pick up the pace a little bit. Last time by ran a 30.78. You'll see him do this. Every now and then he'll close that gap to the leader. Get within, 0.6, and then back off again. We've seen the 70 be a pretty strong car here throughout the field tonight. We've seen him make some impressive moves on track. I can't help but wonder if he would have, regardless of this fuel strategy that he put himself in, could he have won this race purely on speed alone? I imagine if we were to look back at some of the stats, the 70 car, if we were to take this fuel mileage battle out of it, was one of the fastest drivers on track here tonight. Ryan Patty continuing to feather that throttle. But he's going to pick it up just a little bit. He's going to swap spots with the 70. 30.96 to a 31.26. Those 2 drivers not necessarily playing games with one another, but knowing exactly what each other need to do. And here you have, I just saw this interval really stretch out. It looks like the 70 is lifting very early to get off into 4. Running flat out on the front stretch, but as soon as, see, he's going to lose a 10th on entry here, so this is absolutely lifting early and rolling through the corner. And not only is it going to save you some fuel mileage, but it's going to save you the tires. you're not putting as much speed and putting as much need and demand for grip on those Goodyears as now. Ryan Patty out front over 2 seconds. 9 to go, 8 to go as they cross the stripe. So that's really a smart move by the 70 here. If he gets to the point where he's got 5 to go and he knows he has enough to get to the very end, does he put his foot down and he can have faith that he's going to have some tire underneath that car to run down our leader? So a 2-second gap isn't that big of a deal. But right now, that gap now starting to grow just a little bit, 2.2 seconds. Patty last time by a 48 to the 70s, 47. Equal lap times there. Well, Mateus is continuing to run down, or continue to be there, and now closing that gap. He's closed half a second here on this lap. We're going to see a fast one here as they come to the stripe. 6 to go for the DRS Racing crew here under the lights of Vegas on turn 1. Definitely picked up the pace there. That was a 30.98. That gap now was 2.2 seconds 2 laps ago, 1.2 seconds now. But here's a factor that he's going to have to contend with. He's got cars and he's got traffic around him and between him and the leader. And by the way, it's 6 to go. That gap now down to 0.8 of a second. Patty was still in fuel conservation mode as they came across the stripe. The 70 was as well, but not to the extreme now. And all of a sudden, the 70 car, he's got to deal with a little bit of this traffic. But he's got the 30 machine in his sights as they come across the stripe. 4 to go. The interval back to second place, 0.6. Both drivers surrounded by cars much faster than them. Now down to half a second, down the backstretch. I think we're going to call this the 70 cars in full go mode at this point. Does he have enough to get to the end? Maintaining that half a second gap as they come across the stripe. An 0.5 to a 30.97. About a 10th faster the 70 car was that lap. 3 to go. Ryan looks a little slow through that corner. I think that's just a visual thing, but man, it looked like that car checked up hard. 2 more laps around Las Vegas. Who's got enough in the tank? By the way, Dave Hunt, one of his favorite tracks, he mentioned during pre-race. And right now it's showing. He's going to cruise to a 3rd place spot if he's got enough fuel in the tank. Oh, big fall off here as a 70 car. Oh, that car bobbled hard. Coming to the white flag. Ryan Patty one more time around here in Vegas. The 70 completely out of it at this point. I think he is out of fuel. If he's not, he's close. 2.3, 2.4. No pressure out pack. Ryan Patty just needs to cruise here. He's got traffic all around him, but he's going to take it to the bottom. And Ryan Patty in that 30 car, able to save enough. Last on pit road, lap 74. Made it to the end. Ryan Patty is going to be your winner. Big bobble there out of the 70, but he's going to bring home 2nd place. And Dave Hunt was able to hold off Ross Rawlings. Ross got within 0.8 of a second of Dave Hunt, but Dave going to bring home 3rd place tonight here in Vegas. I don't know if the 70 cars got enough to make it all the way back around. But nonetheless, fuel strategy at its best. Brings an exciting conclusion to tonight's DRS race here in Vegas on Turn 1. We're going to step aside for just a moment, bring you some post-race coverage right here. You're watching Turn 1. Race number 2 for DRS in the books, and we're going to talk to race winner Ryan Patty. Ryan, congratulations on an exciting end of the race there, but really more importantly, playing the fuel strategy game. We saw you in the 70 car kind of go back and forth on lap times, and you had enough for some burnouts. Talk to me about kind of that strategy to save enough to get to the very end here.
I was really just trying to make sure I got to the front after obviously an unfortunate incident with some netcode there. I didn't think we were going to go green all the way, but once we got about a quarter of the run, quarter of the way into that run, it dawned on me that we were about 3 laps shy, and I was taking it pretty conservative just to kind of pick away, and rode at the back of the field for a little bit there. And by the time I got up in the top 5, I said, I think I might be able to make it. And it was me and Vinny going back and forth. I probably would have been stuck behind him if I didn't make that one move to go high and get the clean air there, and I think that was the difference maker, because once I got around him, we both went into heavy save mode and never looked back.
Ryan, you mentioned something we noticed pretty hard tonight on the broadcast. It seemed like if you got out front, got in that clean air, or got away from a little bit of traffic or congestion, you could bring it to a half a second lead. It really seemed like the car kind of came to its own, and the handling really drastically changed. Was that something that came to fruition? Was that reality for you tonight here up front?
Yeah, well, not in the short run, because if you get a green-white checkered or a quick 10-lap run, then you can really punish the tires to get around folks, and dirty air, you can kind of power through it, but you'll abuse the tires. But once you get past that and it gets into middle and long-run territory, dirty air is just going to make your car push up the track, and you'll chew up your front tires. So that's why from the start of that run to the end of it, I was letting off early, coasting into the corners. I was even clutching it at the end there to save fuel, just trying to take care of that right front, because the car was pushing pretty bad all night. And yeah, I think that, like I said, just making sure I didn't ride behind anyone too closely, tried to find clean air where I could. That was probably the big difference maker tonight.
Well, tight race cars and tight fuel gonna capitalize. Ryan Patty going to bring home the checkered flag here tonight in Vegas. Ryan, congratulations on an exciting win, and hope to talk to you here again real soon.
Sure thing. Thanks, Sean, for coming on board here, and shout out to Bob, Terry, and everyone else that runs the league, Whitaker. We really appreciate everything they do.
Ryan Patty, your winner here tonight in Vegas. Thanks, Ryan.
Thank you.
And with that, we'll talk to our second place driver here tonight and ask one of the most important questions of the evening. Vinny, I need to know, how do you pronounce that last name, sir?
Maestas.
Maestas. All right, we weren't too far off, but anyway, don't go back and watch.
No, you did pretty good.
Well, Vinny, listen, congratulations, P2 here tonight. I said it with 20 to go, 30 to go. You were probably the fastest car on average on track tonight. We saw you make some really strong moves in the early part of the race, especially before the stage break, but obviously fell in that hole of fuel conservation mode. Talk to me through that. Anything you regret, anything you would go back and redo, and ultimately there at the end, what would you have needed to save enough to be there on the bumper right there on the white flag?
Yeah, I made the mistake. Thinking about it now, I went 16 gallons trying to get a faster, pit stop, but I thought I was good on fuel. I'm usually pretty good at it. I was more concerned about saving tires. I had the tires for Ryan, but not the fuel. What changed for me was the little blink I had. I don't know where it came from. I never have those, but that actually might have worked in my favor at that moment. But yeah, it was definitely a fuel race here at the end with Ryan. He's good at saving fuel and saving tires, so I know what he's up to. And Trying to push him a little bit, in the later laps or the earlier laps, and then try to hunt him down. But I just didn't have the fuel, so it was nothing for me. But that's how it is. You take a gamble, and it might work out better in the end, or not.
Well, you've got to have talent, and you've got to have fuel to finish these things. You certainly demonstrated one of those. Came a little short on the second one. Vinny, congratulations tonight on P2. We look forward to talking to you again here throughout the season.
Yes, sir. Have a good one.
And with that, we'll talk to third place driver, Dave Hunt. We spoke to him during the pre-race show, and Dave mentioned how this was one of his favorite tracks. Dave, congratulations, brought home a top 3. It doesn't matter how you got there, but it sounds like fuel mileage was key to that success. Talk to us through how you were able to execute tonight.
Yeah, exactly right. I was trying to figure out what I was going to do there after I got in that wreck early on, and then I figured, then it started off, and I started driving towards the front, and then I looked at my fuel, and I said, let me see if I can figure this out. So that's why I slowed up and went to the back and just tried to save as much as I could. And, yeah, another caution never came out, so it worked out.
Hey, Dave, it definitely seemed like it was. Now, on the opposite side of that, we saw Ross Rawlings come down pit road. He took a stop around 100 or so, and he was really starting to reel you in there. If you had to push the issue in the late race, were you prepared to battle out for that third place spot, or did you know if Rawlings got to you, you were pretty much going to have to surrender that position?
No, I seen him coming there like 20 to go. I kept watching him, and he kept gaining on me. Then I had that 3 car, the lap car, right there with me, and I was just sort of following him to try to save even more fuel, and then I seen him coming again, and I said, well, shoot, man, I better go. But I don't know I think he would have got me because he would have had way better tires than me if he could have made it.
Well, regardless of all that, 2 top 3s is the best way to kick off a season. Dave, congratulations on the finish here tonight at Vegas. And, hey, we said we'd talk to you again here real soon at the beginning of the race. We'll say it again at the end of the race, assuming we'll talk to you again next week.
Yeah, sounds good, Sean. Thanks.
Thanks, Dave. And with that, we'll wrap up race coverage of the DRS crew right here on Turn 1. What a great race here at Vegas. We ended up with less than 4 total cautions across the board. One of those a stage break. And some exciting fuel mileage, all wrapped up into one action-packed race under the lights tonight here at Vegas. On behalf of the league admins, I'm Sean Fitz. We appreciate you tuning in. Thursday night, I believe we go back racing with OSR. And head on over to Facebook. Turn 1 on Facebook. Turn 1 Broadcasting for the latest schedule, news, information, and more right here. Or with us right here on Turn 1. We appreciate the support. And until Thursday night, be good. See you next time. Bye-bye.